This is Kenji again, and we're here with Renee Hamilton of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And today, Renee is going to talk about the importance of his biotechnology and his cosmic technology and how his brain works, because he can see his brain working, which most of us have no clue as to how our brain looks on a cosmic level, especially since the last training. And so I'd like to ask Renee, cosmic question number one.
Okay.
All right.
I'm prepared.
So,
I'm prepared.
Why are you here in this time-space continuum offering your wonderful cosmic technologies?
Well, I'm definitely here because I recognize that. Well, do you want the long-winded answer or short one? I'll probably summarize it. You know, ever since I was very young, much like you, almost similar scenario. I don't recall the age, maybe 4 years old or 3 or something. I went to preschool, so not kindergarten, but kind of like before that, like kindergarten daycare or something like that. And had the teacher had asked everyone in the class, maybe 20, 30 of us, where we were born, who our parents are. And I'm sitting in a circle with everyone else, and immediately, as soon as she asked me that, I had visions, like in my mind, I visioned like a starscape, like a space with planets and everything. And I knew, and I even said to myself, I'm a child of the universe. And I knew that my mother was a vessel for me to come through. And I actually pictured this energy coming through her and coming out, but I wasn't necessarily from here. And I knew that, and I knew I couldn't tell the rest of the people in the class that. I knew they wouldn't understand. So I said, my name and the city I was born in, Toronto, and that was it. And that's the first really strong impression that I had from when I was very young, that really I've kept with me from that earliest age of recognition, of being aware, being awake, or how should I say it, being alive or self-aware to a higher degree than many around me. I would always look at friends in school and class, and they'd always be involved in one activity or another, and they'd be so into it. They'd play their character to the fullest. Yet I was always introverted and looking and analyzing and thinking and trying to figure out this maze of life. And I've always been very, I've always felt mystical. I don't know how to translate it other than that. I just felt this mysterious essence about everything, and I was going to encounter something that was the ultimate, whatever that was, the ultimate. Yeah, and that was in reference to life. Like I was going to discover the ultimate something of life, and I always felt that and kept that. And I spent a lot of my years in elementary school. I spent most of my time in a dream world. So I actually remember more of my dreams and outer body, whatever experiences, than I do physical experiences up until around the age of 10. So I spent most of my time just in another state of consciousness. And around the age of 5 or 6 years old, I lost the ability to speak for almost a year. I literally started to stutter really bad, and I just wasn't able to communicate with anyone except my brother. And him and I would communicate telepathically, and he would tell my mother what I wanted to eat for dinner or whatever, and I'd just look at him and he'd just, hey, he wants blah, blah, and for a year. And one day, just, I went to doctors and speech therapists and everything, and they were just, they don't know. So one day it just always went away. I think I had a lot of trauma in integrating what I truly felt into physical reality, seeing all the pain, seeing people cheat, lie, steal. I was so traumatized by being here, but yet I knew I had to be here and I knew I wanted to be here at the same time. So this is something that really I carried through throughout the years. And in my teenage years, I became very despondent. Around the age of 10 years old or so, I actually remember the day I moved out of the state of oneness or connectedness with the universe. I remember the day it happened. I remember my vision changed. I remember my hearing changed. I remember everything became cold and hard, cold walls. And what's particularly interesting is I remember through my whole life up until that time, hearing a music, and it's not like musical instrument, but is the pleasure of sounds, like every sound, the birds, the car driving by, the wind, everything was music to my ears. And one day that stopped, and there was silence, cold, hard walls, silence. I could hear thoughts. Oh, you gotta do this. You gotta go to school. Hey, you want to, just like this voice kicked in one day, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? That was just freaked me out. And it was talking to me, and it was telling me how things are, how things should be, what I look like. I started hearing my own voice, and I don't like my own voice, and just programming me or something. I don't know how to explain it. It just terrified me. And I couldn't speak to anyone about it. I was just in my own world. And as a result of that, I became very troubled emotionally, mentally. And I started to steal, like, from the store. Or I remember one time, me and my friend, OJ, that's what his name at the time, we went to we had a bunch of schools in our neighborhood. We went to one school during a parent-teacher meetup, and all the parents and teachers had all their coats and everything, hang up on racks, and all the women put all the purses up there and on the ground. And we just went into school, and while they're all in the room meeting and talking, we just grabbed a couple of purses and just walked out and took the money, and we didn't know what to do. We didn't even know what to do with the money. We were 10 years old. So we're like, what are we going to do with the money? Well, buy some chocolate bars or whatever. But I was doing that because I was just lost. And I needed to do something to try and get that feeling of happiness back. So rather than just being happy, I was now looking to try and do things to be happy. And that, unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, I don't know, I can't really judge, led into a world of frustration, some crime, doing drugs, all sorts of things when I was young.
So you went to the dark side and experimented, basically.
Yeah, I at one point when I was like 16, I even sold drugs, and throughout my teenage years and young years, I've always had immaculate intervention in me getting myself in so much trouble that I couldn't get out of it. I've been shot at, people with guns trying to shoot me. I've almost drowned 3 times and was saved by just unbelievable circumstances which defied physical reality. A friend of mine, we went swimming in this neighborhood community center, and no one under the age of 16 was allowed to go in there unattended. So we were 13 or 12. We went in there, and it was a Saturday, and we're all by ourselves, or I don't know what day it was. And we're playing, and we decided we're gonna see if we can dunk each other underneath the water. So we're in the middle of the pool, and we're trying to dunk each other in the water. And for some reason, both of us became so tired, like we couldn't even keep ourselves afloat. It was insane. And we were in the middle of the deep end, and we both literally, we couldn't even make it to the end. We were dying. We were like, oh my gosh, just freaking out. It was over, like guaranteed over. Now, on the walls of the swimming pool, there were those red sort of rafty foam things. Have you seen them before? I've been in a swimming pool a long time, but they're all on the walls and on these hooks. And I remember they're all on the walls. There's nothing around. And suddenly, we were just 1 second before going under and calling it quits. This floaty thing just floats in front of us. And we just grab it, and where it came from, you know, only
only the angels know.
only angels know. And many circumstances like that have happened, countless of times. So I've always been protected. And funny enough, people want protection from other people and other things.
Mm-hmm.
I've been protected from my own unwisdom or my own oversight of things, and so it's kind of like me being protected from my lower sort of decisions, and that's carried through even to this day. There's still that level of just oversight where there's Big Brother watching every step, and you make one misstep and just puts you right back on line. So I've been afforded the freedom to experiment with the levels, how extreme I could take things, because I always know I will be pulled back, because I've kept that essence of truth within my heart, knowing that I'm working towards something amazing, this amazing beauty, this amazing freedom, this amazing truth that I hold within me. And to answer your question, why am I here, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I have experienced on many occasions, in different varying degrees, self-realization of what I am and what I'm moving towards, and the joy and the total freedom of unrestrained soul, spiritual freedom and bliss. And one of the most major life-changing events was when I was about 18 years old. And the experience lasted for about probably 12 hours of total, I don't know how to explain it. I don't use the word download, but it was similar to that. Just, I felt an opening in my head, and all this information about what I am, who I am, where I'm going, different states of consciousness, what path I want to take, left or right path, dark side to light side, and just hours and hours and hours, and this love poured through me that was comparable. I'm not a mother, but I could imagine having a loving husband and giving birth to an amazing child, and this love must be just overwhelming. So take that times a billion. But not just love for a child, but for every single thing that existed. If there's dust on the edge of something, I was like, oh, thank you for being there. I was just absolutely, it felt like I was God, and everything was my creation. And it lasted for hours and hours and hours and hours. It was wow. And over the next couple of days, it dissipated, and my mind came back. And the funny thing is, I actually attempted to think a negative thought when I was in that state. I tried to, and I couldn't even conceive of a scenario that would be negative, or it was incredible. So I've had these tidbits for extended periods or for short periods of this amazing bliss, joy that I've carried with me, and I'm able to refer back to that and bring that within me at varying points, to varying degrees, depending on where my attention is or how balanced I am or whatnot. And throughout my years, I've gotten caught up in negative circumstances that allowed certain people, organizations, whatever, to control my state of mind for their benefit, thinking I'd get benefits out of it as well, almost like making a deal with the devil. Not that I did, figuratively speaking. And I've gotten everything I've ever wanted. I've gotten everything I've ever wanted, physically, money, this, that, drugs. I ran a multi-million-dollar company that made tremendous amount of money for many years, and had all the physical freedom to buy houses, to buy a car, to buy whatever I wanted. Not that I spent it on houses, which I could have managed my money a lot better. But I've been around the world and seen a lot of extreme things, and have been able to realize that nothing physically is going to bring me joy, period. And I've hit, literally, dead ends where the only thing left is to surrender to the divinity to the truth that I really am, that I know that I'm sometimes in denial about. And I could complain, I could do all these things and blame other people, but really, I've realized from a very young age that my thoughts, my emotions are directly connected with what I experience on an outer, everyday experience. And when I was in my teenage years, after reading many books that my mother had, I started to experiment with some of the things that they were saying. And lo and behold, I started to see this connection between what I was thinking and what was actually happening in front of me. I mean, within minutes of trying the experiment, I saw results. And I was like, wow, like, shouldn't everyone know this? Like, and all my friends thought it was crazy. As I was telling them about all this, I was so excited. I was age 17. And when you're 17 and all my friends are drinking every weekend and smoking weed and going to parties and whatever, they're like, what? Are you like brainwashed or like, that's all I talk about? I was like, man, you gotta try, you gotta like think something and it'll happen. And they're like, man, you're crazy. And I literally lost all my friends for like 2-3 years. Like literally all my friends. And I was very popular in high school and junior high. So I was used to being around people all the time and being the center of attention and cut off. And I realized, in hindsight, that I had to go through that in order to redirect myself out of a life of crime, out of a life of mundane, pleasure of the senses. Wasn't until about 3-4 years ago I had a deep experience of recalling that I was on a gigantic spaceship, almost like in Star Wars or Star Trek, more like Star Wars, and the scenery was very similar, the setting was very similar, if one recalls in, I believe it was Empire Strikes Back, when the I think it was Darth Vader had Luke Skywalker, and they were just looking up this big giant window, and Darth Vader pressed a button and activated, or the Emperor pressed a button and activated the Death Star and blew up Luke Skywalker's planet, or one of these planets, and just the shock of that. So my circumstance was there was a bunch of us, and I was like one of the hierarchy, one of the leaders or something in the planetary race or whatever, and we were in an intense battle with some other species or something, and I recall our planet was blown up right in front of me, and I recall the emotion was so, the range of emotion I felt was so deep compared to Earth life here that there's no comparison. The range of emotions the average person here is capable of experiencing is so minute compared to the big picture, the big cosmic game, that it was so profound. The feeling I had was so deep, the emotion was so deep that I know I've carried that through to this life. There's a bleed over, all these other lifetimes are simultaneously happening and they're intermingling, and that's what forms our personality. We don't even know that in some cases. So I recall us leaving that spaceship in a different, using our minds or our consciousnesses or whatever, and traveling to planet Earth and kind of coming in somewhere around the Florida Keys, Everglades region, and looking, at the planet. And I remember flying through all those, I don't know what those weeds are that grow out of the Keys, but we're flying through them, and I remember the joy was so immense that I burst out sobbing in this meditation for like an hour. I couldn't stop crying, and it was the weirdest thing. I was crying because I was so sad for what happened to my planet, but I was crying because I was so happy to be on Earth at the same time. And I remember specifically saying to myself when I was flying through those weeds is that I'm here to prevent what happened to my planet happening to this planet. And that was one of the major things that I recall in terms of an intellectual explanation of why I'm here. I know that even that drama in another lifetime or whatever needs to be let go. I need to let go of even that. Even that, however cosmic and cool it may sound to be from another planet, even that drama needs to be let go and surrendered to the peace and truth of which I really am. So that's a long-winded explanation to what you just asked me.
Powerful. So share with us now, leading into this, so how your work is part of that vision and how it can help humanity.
Certainly. I've, through many years of observing creation, observing myself, observing others, and being very aware of subtle energies. And I'm not sure people understand what I mean by subtle energies, but let's just say that most people feel the boundary of their body or boundary of their senses ends with the skin. Well, let's just say if there was a breeze moving through a room or you're outside the middle of a field and there's a breeze, the wind is moving. Imagine your senses were connected to the wind. So if the wind touched a tree 40 feet away, you'd feel it because that's part of you. And any fluctuation in temperature, air pressure, humidity, all these things you could feel because you are part of the wind, you're part of the air. That's kind of an analogy of what it's like to be sensitive. I can walk into a room and I can feel subtle electronic or electric magnetic vibrations from people's thoughts, from their emotions, from their memories, I can look and see how their mind takes information in and processes it and then puts it out. I can see a clairvoyant blueprint of that, which
I have a new job for you.
Yeah.
Med school. Teaching the med students. Okay, here's how the brain really works.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I'm always learning, and it's fascinating. After doing many quote unquote psychic readings over the years, I come to realize that it's not really psychic work I'm doing. It's direct cognition, direct intuition. People don't even know what intuition means. Tuition is knowledge, so intuition is inner knowledge. I wouldn't even say this is knowledge. It's just knowing. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a step beyond that. And over the years, I've used my abilities for negative purposes. When I was less conscious of what I am, or just in denial. And subsequently, around 6-7 years ago, I awakened myself beyond the critical point where there's no turning back, to where you realize that certain truths and you cannot revert back to a state of unconsciousness. It was at that point that I made different decisions on the inside, and that brought into my reality certain individuals who were able to assist me in developing my skills, my direct connection to source skills, my perceptual skills, my interdimensional perception skills, and help me fine-tune them in order to move forward in my mission, whatever that was. And I wasn't sure exactly what it was either. I fell in Wayne Gatos from Crystalline. He had, just through being friends and talking to him, he just opened my mind up to new ideas. And one day, I remember just one day, literally a light bulb went off. And he explained to me about energy and how it worked. And he would say, Renee, come with me to Mars. And we'd be at dinner. I want to show you something. I'm like, wow, what do you mean go with you to Mars? How do you just go to Mars? Just do it. I'm like, what do you mean just do it? Like, what? I was just like dumbfounded. Okay, just go to Mars. But he never explained more than that. I'm like, well, I don't know how to go to Mars. He goes, well, just go there. Anyways, I don't remember what happened after that. But next time we went for dinner, he did the same thing again. Okay, come here with me. And it clicked to me in my mind that it's not how you do it, it's why do I think I cannot do it. So I just used my imagination and I went there and he's like, you know, and we both visually confirmed the same thing. And he was like, you got it, right? And certain light bulbs went off and I started to perceive energy and subtle vibrations and even consciousness in a completely different way. And I realized that I could create, just almost like how you do, a stargate or openings or a field of energy in which I can allow different states of consciousness to move through and affect physical reality in now time, in instantaneously, beyond the speed of light. And one of the first things I did was, and through the help of my friend Robert Taylor and his wife Roxanne, was they had a type of radionics / vibrational energy machine, which helped me through biofeedback verify certain things I was doing mentally. And to that process, I started to realize, you know, that our surroundings, electromagnetic energy and cell phones and TVs and computers and laptops and food and all these things around us were tainted with these negative energy imprints, which I was now able to perceive on a greater level. And I was just horrified, like, oh my God, we're surrounded by just everything is just has negative imprints on it. And people don't realize that. Even their subconscious mind is walking around, they're just creating worlds of negativity. In fact, many people ask me, Renee, you can see auras and interdimensionally, and I wish I could do that. I wish I could see people's thoughts. And I'm like, no, you don't. You do not. You'd be in living hell. Like, I mean, if you could see the average person's thoughts.
So let me ask you this. Can you help people to manage that sensitivity? Because as we move in to the new earth vibration,
absolutely,
there's going to be people popping open, left, right, all these different levels, from feeling people's thoughts to hearing sounds to seeing colors and all of that. Yeah.
You know, to what degree, I don't know. It depends on the person and that circumstance. However, I've been able to manage it from a very beginning stage to the, you know, to where I'm now. And I have a lot of people who I know are sensitive. They can't go to malls, too many people, too many energies. I actually enjoy it. I actually I've, from a very young age, I've just had this, I wouldn't say protection, but just knowing how to keep me and that so to speak.
Right.
And
you can help people with that?
I feel I can. I have.
Yeah, because a lot of people have a little difficulty with that.
Yeah. So,
tell us a little bit more about your services that you offer people.
Well, I teach quantum psychology.
Like in a 6-week class series?
No, more right now it's more one-on-one consultation, or actually like workshops, weekend workshops.
Live?
Yeah, live. I'm actually doing one this weekend coming up here. Basically how the mind works, how reality is formed, what the principles of reality are, and how it's created in mind, and how stories and programs and imprints create our reality, and how we can undo that or change it. It's, you know, just one idea can change everything, or one lack of idea. So I really focus on taking people from who know nothing about any of this to very high levels, or people who want specific questions about relationships, or about how they feel about themselves, or even how to develop these abilities within themselves, these intuitive abilities or unlimited abilities or spiritual abilities, how to open these different centers of perception, how to turn your mind into a receiver and transmitter of these quantum chi, prana, cosmic energies, and take yourself from a quote-unquote human being to a galactic transmitter and receiver, and work through these, realize these past issues, past stories, past traumas. They are really irrelevant when it comes down to what you really are. And once you get a taste of what you really are, these things just drop away. They're just completely irrelevant. So we're all living in fantasy worlds, so we might as well create the greatest fantasy we can if we have the ability to change that. And so I talk with people on how to achieve these things on a step-by-step basis through proper application of thought, and then eventually to disengage from thought altogether. So I have to build a bridge, though. People can't just go from one to another. At least most of the people I deal with, even though we can enter a quantum state in which you talk about, some people need the hardcore science, hardcore explanations in order to satisfy the ego enough to just let it give just a little bit.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, so I create tools, I do workshops. I love speaking, it's actually my passion, even more than creating these tools. I create these power plates, these energy plates, which hold specific vibrations of energetic consciousness, which interacts with your consciousness, with your molecules and atoms, and changes the energetic flow and resonation of it, and can have profound effects, spiritually, emotionally, physiology, all sorts of things. Create pendants right here, which help provide protection.
Like these?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us about this one.
Sure, that one's called Imagine. And I don't create them with an intent. I actually move into a state of consciousness in which I create a vortex or portal or stargate for that consciousness of where I am to move through and anchor through the physical dimension. And these energies move through the pendants continually, and it's, most people can feel the vibration or heat or tingles or electrical tingles, and it's not like I'm imprinting it with a psychic intent or anything. I don't even know what they do until after they're done, until after we get people to wear them, until after we test them with biofeedback machines. They're waterproof. They all help provide measurable protection from electronic radiation. It makes your body feel that it's not, it harmonizes these energy waves so they're not attacking your body or your mind per se. Different devices for your vehicle that realign the atoms so that your vehicle is more powerful.
So
more
tell us
efficient.
about this one.
Bio-infinity bracelet, that's one of our newest things, and we've actually, that's more of a, more advanced technology than I've been using in the past, and we holographically imprint the crystals on the front with many properties. Too many to even name. It takes 5-6 pages to even list them all. And on the back of the bracelets, there's certain energy diodes, far infrared, negative ion, organic germanium, neodymium magnets. Some of them have tourmaline, and we've purified the energy fields of all those well, and this creates this harmonic field around the body. And some people have a tremendous energy and relief from pain and all sorts of things. That everyone's body is different. So these are tools not to be relied upon to take you to higher states of consciousness. Yet they are tools to help make the ride smoother and get you there faster. And I always tell people, don't buy a pendant thinking that you're going to, uplift into nirvana or bliss or whatever. This is not going to happen. And these are really permission slips. I'm going to be very frank. They're permission slips for you to experience your own energies, because people think that the world's on the outside, so they see things on the outside that represent how they feel on the inside. So even though they are created with very high states of consciousness, it's really your own state of consciousness, your feeling, represented in the ego world of reality through my pendant. And a lot of people will not understand what I just said, but some of you may. And I'm really working towards having people reach these states through my tools, through your teachings, through really getting beyond the small stuff and really getting over themselves and stop personalizing everything. Everything's so personal for people. You can't even talk to people anymore because it's a crime. You said something that may affect you, and it's just ridiculous.
Called way overreaction.
It's beyond that. There's a new name. I don't even know what the name is. It's just ludicrous.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
It's ludicrous. So I'm really looking forward to expanding myself and getting what I have come to learn and what I've unlearned with those who are ready to take themselves to the next level and really serious about it and really willing to. I don't want to use the word sacrifice, but really, you have to want this. Like one of my previous teachers said, like your head is being held underneath water, and you're struggling to get your next breath. You eventually are going to have to want it that bad, because there is so much opposition to you reaching higher states of consciousness, and the opposition is within yourself. It's within the actually not within yourself, but within the false self, within the ego. People will kill each other over belief systems, over which vodka tastes better, or which rum, dark rum or white rum. The ego doesn't care. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care if it kills you or you kill someone else. So we need to get beyond this self-centered state of consciousness and really move towards what we truly are. And it's not about us finding what we are. It's not about searching to find truth. It's about us eliminating what is not truth. I spent many years searching for what I was, looking and reading books. Maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that, maybe I'm this and that. No. You could attain so much knowledge. You probably read 1,000, 2,000 books, but how far did that get you? It's just more knowledge. There's unlimited knowledge. You could study forever, for eons. It's getting rid of the knowledge that has gotten you in the conundrum that you are in the first place. Then you realize the simplicity of life. It is the simplicity of life that repels the mind. The innocence of the wonder, the warmth, the glow, the joy, just like you said, just being. A lot of people, they've been programmed from day one with so much negative thoughts and ideas that they don't even know what that is. They have no concept of it, and they're lost. And to give people the tools, the simple ways, something easy that they can connect with, is a godsend in this day and age. And I'm so happy to be a part of this process of awakening, of into truth and of freedom, and it's going beyond the normal status quo that is just a repressive, self-regulated prison state of consciousness. And it's just one idea, one feeling, one thought, one touch of grace can affect that and affects the whole universe forever. So that's where I'm working from, and I'm always looking for, I could say I'm always looking, I'm always looking for new opportunities and new ways to express myself. And I do that through my art, through technology, through my pendants, through music. I'm also a music producer, through writing, through speaking, and any way I can express myself and let this feeling and let this joy, let this awesomeness move through. That's where I am, and I've done a lot of things in the past, and I'm not even sure if it was me who did it or the state of consciousness I was in that did it. But I'm not going to feel guilty or shamed about something that really wasn't me, because I now understand or overstand what I am greater. You don't have a good perspective when you're underneath something, only when you're above.
Yeah.
So, and it's a blessing to be here with you, and to be with Alice and Rose, the council, and Onda, and everyone in the class. And I didn't know what to expect. It's not more than I bargained for, but it's a pleasant surprise. Definitely. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
You did this before the training started, correct?
I did.
To symbolize the power of potentialities for the students in the training?
the night before, I spent some time and I had to nudge to design something, and I spent quite a few hours, and eventually came up with this design right here, which embodied, you know, time. We think time is linear, like, you know, before or after. However, in, you know, in different states of consciousness, that's not an issue. So I expanded my consciousness to the energy, the vibe, the feeling of this state of consciousness that you were helping people ground. And this is what I came up with. You know, didn't really have a name for it at the time. You know, I knew the word flower, the word power, the word quantum had to be in there. And it, you know, and I've made a lot of plates, like 30, 40 of them, and this by far is the most powerful, and I could literally feel like pins and needles on my hand from it. It's quite exquisite. And yeah, it's since being in the room with you and the whole class and on the altar, I mean, this thing is like super energized. You could probably put your cell phone on that and charge it up with that thing.
So on a practical note, okay, so how may I use this, or anyone that you do a print for, an image for, how can we use that now?
Certainly.
In our life?
Well, first and foremost, when we're dealing with ourselves, we're dealing with ourselves and our surroundings simultaneously, because they're both one. In terms of some simple practical uses of everyday things that we interact with, placing your plate of food, water, juice, laundry, vitamins will be tremendously more effective. If you put your vitamins or pills or whatever on this, it removes negative programming, negative imprinting, negative memory from the food, from the cosmetics, whatever it is, and energizes it with this state of consciousness, this blessing. It's like a blessing. Takes it to a higher level of life force, vitality. Now, one of the things that we didn't mention is that I had measured the life force of all the students at the show here,
right.
at the show, and there were very high numbers to begin with, and I was quite pleasantly surprised. And after we did an attunement, which is about 30 minutes later, the numbers have jumped astronomical. I mean, I've measured thousands of people over the years.
It was like 1,000 times, huh?
Some are 1,000, some are...
Or more.
Yeah, some are like 10,000 times more of life force within 30 minutes. You know, it took me years to build my life force to some of the levels where some of them are already at. Yeah. Even before the attunement.
Yeah.
You know, so I was, you know, some pretty heavy evidence right there. You know, I didn't know anything about anyone there. So, you know, it was pretty fascinating. Likewise, with the products, it channels a pure life force into whatever you're using it with. Your food, your water, your wine. It, you know, changes the taste of wine. I've experimented with that significantly. Put this near your computer, your electronics. You can actually stand on the large plates on a flat surface, stand on it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and all your nerve endings and all the reflexology endings are on your feet. So this energy travels through the nervous system immediately and has immediate effects upon the whole being.
So the backing is made of what?
It's got foam core.
Okay,
so
and then
this is it's a waterproof top right here. It's
so you can sponge it down. You can wipe it down.
You can wipe it down. Yeah, soap
you
and
can
water.
put food on it. You put a glass of water on it.
Yeah.
Coffee on it.
Yeah.
You can put your feet on it.
Put your feet on it.
But you don't want to put it on a heated floor or.
Well, you don't want to put it on a floorless carpet because if it's on an uneven surface, the foam board may bend.
Yeah.
So it makes it a flat surface. You can also put it underneath your bed. I think I mentioned you guys, the coils in the bed amplify energies that are ambient in the atmosphere, radio, internet, TV signals, everything. So you want to put that underneath your bed or one place so it's transmitting positive life force energy through you while you're sleeping the whole night and energizing you. We also have a small version as well that's more portable and easy to carry and take with you in your purse or in your pocket, and that way you could bring it to a restaurant and use it and sleep with it, put it on your third eye, put it on your heart, energize it, part of your body. If you have an ache or pain, put it there. many uses. Just change the energy of the whole room. So the pendant is like that, just smaller, more portable, right? Waterproof, you can shower with it. Like with the bracelets are the same thing.
I see.
So many applications for the technology, and you know, this is a simplistic form of energy transfer that anyone could have anywhere, anytime, when they're not thinking about it. It's always there, working, always.
So if you were to put this in a room, what would it do, putting this in a room?
Change the energetic field. It would change the consciousness of the room. Even the furniture, even the walls, just like you mentioned, would start to resonate closer to that energy level there. So even if there's many negative influences in that room, not just in the physical realm, but different realms, they may avoid the room altogether. They may have a tough time being here or staying in here because something doesn't feel right to them. And I've had many circumstances like that. And, you know, I never know what's going to happen because everyone's different. Everyone's bioenergy field is different. So we tell people, well, this is a base, guidelines of what we've experienced with this, but you will have to judge and see what happens for you. Same with the pendants. People ask, is there one pendant that does everything? Is there all in one pendant? And I say no, because I don't even know how you're going to react to it, because your energy can react different than your neighbor.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. I talk to people all over the world, and new feedback every day, and new distributors and people all over the world seeing the technology, and you know, and they ask me a lot of questions, and you know, and just getting this out there is just amazing. And again, I told you before, I was more interested in getting what I have to say out there versus the products, which is happening. And I'm actually controlling that process in terms of me not spreading myself too thin. Which again, you've had a major increase all of a sudden, and you can't really take the time to talk with people one-on-one or on the phone all day. I'm on the phone sometimes 6 hours to talk to people. So taking time to just balance things out and letting things flow naturally, and taking care of myself first and foremost.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay,
so if people want to get a hold of you,
yeah, they can get a hold of me at innersoultechnologies.com. That's INNERSOULTECHNOLGIES. And they can go to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/InnerSoulTech. And so we have a lot of videos on there of 3D animations of how our products work, and lectures and testimonials and whatnot. So those are the two main channels. Don't really want to give the number out, so you can go on our website and all the contact information is on there. So again, you can also go on Facebook, Renee Hamilton. There's quite a few of them, I think, but just look for a picture of me. I look the same in my pictures. And you can find may find a link on your site maybe, and likewise.
There will be some information on quantumlightweaving.com under contact and resources. Lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And
absolutely.
This is my second interview,
yeah.
So I'm getting broken. I'm breaking myself in,
as
you can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
To have you here, and do check them out. Wonderful work. And until next time.